This is an unprecedented storm, and it's causing us to have an unprecedented response.
This is the city of Asheville in the western mountains of North Carolina, 2,000 feet above sea level and hundreds of miles away from the nearest coastline. But such was the force of Hurricane Helene that nowhere in its path was safe.
We are surging search and rescue teams to help rescue people who are still stranded but can't communicate because cell phone service is down.
As many as 600 people are still on the missing list as search teams fan out across the state, navigating the worst flooding to hit the region in a century, with thousands of downed trees, power and mobile outages, and hundreds of closed roads.
It's indescribable. I don't know. It just was covered in litter and trees and mud, and it's stinky. And it was all the way up the street up here. It just looked like the bottom of a river.
And this is the surface of Lake Lure, an hour below the mountains of Asheville, now an apocalyptic stew of rubble and debris after Helene ripped through the state, unleashing torrential downpours and catastrophic mudslides, killing 47 in North Carolina alone so far, and more than 115 in total since last Thursday. That's when Helene first made landfall on Florida's Gulf Coast as the most powerful hurricane, a Category 4, ever to hit the so-called Big Bend region, before tearing northeast through Georgia, the Carolinas and Tennessee. Homes were swept away in the storm that had been a Category 1 just the day before. But in a now all too familiar tale, Helene picked up massive amounts of energy from the unusually warm Gulf waters, exacerbated, scientists say, by climate change. The result was a 350-mile wide, devastating storm with wind speeds up to 140 miles an hour at their peak.
And have you reached out to President Biden about federal relief efforts?
No, I haven't reached out to him. No, I think he's sleeping right now, actually.
The hurricane collided with presidential politics too, with Donald Trump arriving in Georgia this afternoon, ostensibly to survey the damage and use the hurricane response to attack Joe Biden, who had, in fact, returned to the White House earlier than planned on Sunday and had already addressed the devastation in earlier remarks.
I've directed my team to provide every available resource as fast as possible to your communities to rescue, recover, and to begin rebuilding.
Biden says he plans to visit storm-ravaged areas this week as Vice President Kamala Harris cut short a campaign trip in Nevada to return to Washington, D.C. to be briefed on the crisis. This is the second powerful hurricane to hit parts of America in just over 2 months. And many predict scenes of devastation, not just on the coast, but deep into the country, could become the norm as rising temperatures from human-induced climate change take their ever more destructive toll.
Well, hello there, partner. Go on and hang up your hat, grab yourself a whiskey, and pull up in the easy chair. We're coming off the range of 9 to 5s with a whole herd of news stories that we've been steaming over like a cow patty in the Texas heat. As they say, the chickens are finally coming home to roost. And we're here to ruffle some feathers and ensure accountability ain't just a concept, it's reality. It's that time where the day's drama casts its longest shadow. So let's light a candle to the chaos of current events, the whirlwind of politics, and the tangled webs of corruption that we find ourselves entwined by. It's time to ramble our way into the twilight. Welcome to Sunset Rants.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Sunset Rants, where we catch you up with the breaking news headlines and posts to get you caught up at sunset I'm AK, your favorite guy. We've got the bold and beautiful Elizabeth. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you, Roma? How is everybody today?
Good. Much better than last week. Last week, I mean, I was right up to the wire on every show, but resilience
Yes,
prevailed.
we
That's
must
right.
keep going for the people.
Tell me about it. Well, you can find me on X, the real Roma _AK. We now have a Discord that's open to the public. This is where you can chat with your hosts and send us news and articles that you want to hear on this show. We also have a new website that's up where Sunset Rants is a part of a Rise of Middle America network where you can see our most recent content, news, rants, deep dives, as well as upcoming content that you don't want to miss. So if you want more breaking information, like the video that Scrapjaw did the other day,
Yes.
remember that's well up over 50,000 views.
Yes.
I believe he was in Springfield. We were doing a little bit of undercover work there. We do have a link at the bottom of the page where you can make a monetary contribution in creating content for our viewers. So don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe and help your host take this show to the next level. Now, without further ado, let's see. Let's go on with our first story. Where do you want to start with? You want to go post-millennial?
Yeah, let's do it. They usually have the goods.
Yeah, usually they're pretty neutral, so let's figure out what they've got going on here. All right, so more than 1,000 missing in New York, NC County, devastated by Hurricane Helene. All right.
So terrible, man.
Yeah, I know. In a North Carolina county hit hard by Hurricane Helene, more than 1,000 people are missing and 10 have been confirmed dead on Sunday. Macomb County authorities released a tragic toll in emergency meetings of local crisis medical shelters and the status of rescue operations in areas flooded by the Category 4 storm, the New York Post reported. Now, it says 10, but it's well over that now. It's over 100 now.
Yeah.
I think we got this article earlier.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's a growing story because there's a lot of people missing. Mm-hmm. I think I was looking before, there's like millions without power, hundreds missing. They even said it in that beginning video. So 600 plus missing. So unfortunately, the more people they find and the longer this goes on for, the likelihood of finding people alive is going to be less and less.
Yeah. And unfortunately, on Facebook, one of my friends was confirmed as one of those deaths.
Oh my gosh! I'm so sorry.
It's been really tough for their family. I'm not going to mention their name out of respect for the family, but yeah, that tells you how serious this really was. What else we got here? Officials have established an emergency website to seek and coordinate assistance finding those who remain unaccounted for. Hurricane Helene demolished a small town of Steinhatchee, Florida, wiping it off the map and its murderous swing through the South. This is insanely sad, Olivia Rundo posted on X. The below image was reposted from Asheville, North Carolina by Jessica Dry Turner, and moments before the roof collapsed. She survived, but her parents in the bottom right corner and her 6-year-old nephew drowned. So,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, this was it here. This is what they had to deal with.
Thank gosh. It must be, I mean, I can't even imagine how scary it must be. And then, the cell phones obviously are not working, so you can't communicate with people. Just the power is out. So when it gets dark, it can get extremely scary. And
yeah, exactly. And I mean, this is about a 15-foot surge. Now, a lot of this what came from there's a couple of mudslides, coming off the mountaintops, but also dams that were breaking. I think there were like 2 or 3 dams that broke because of the amount of water that was rushing through. So, I mean, there's not really much you can do in those areas except, wait for the water to subside or, do air rescue, which is also very difficult because how much of that land is underwater? So you're going to have to go all the way in and potentially find people, then come out. That's not an easy operation, especially in the Appalachian Mountains.
Yeah. And if you think about it, the people on the ground, if they are rescuable, you can't just like drop one of those ladders off of the helicopter and hope that the person can, climb themselves out of it. You have to be able to go to a place where they can grab it. I'm sure they're injured, so a lot goes into that rescue plan, and it's going to be really delicate. And I wonder at what point it's not a rescue anymore. It's more of like, a search and name kind of a thing.
Recovery effort at that point, but of course, the governor of the state probably has their hands tied. I mean, we've heard good and bad about the reasoning why, politics and money and like all these other things. But we do know that there was one person who decided they were going to help out, and that was Ron DeSantis.
Right.
He met with Team Rubicon volunteers in Pasco County and thanked them for their efforts to help local residents in the aftermath of Hurricane Helene. He says here that the state of Florida also announced that they'll be mobilizing hundreds of travel trailers for residents who had their homes damaged by the storm so they can live comfortably on site while renovations and repairs are underway. Good for him.
Yeah, this is when he's in his bag. You know what I mean? Like, there may have been some weird moments there when he was in the presidential run, but this, taking care of his state and doing what needs to be done, mobilizing what needs to be done, that's his bag. That's when he really shines. That's when he shows people why he's one of the greatest governors in this United States.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I think also he was telling all of the relief efforts, he was like, listen, we've got enough money here to take care of ourselves. Go up to North Carolina, go up to South Carolina, go to these areas that are completely devastated where people don't have any efforts. I do know that Glenn Jacobs, formerly known as Kane, in I think he's the mayor of Knox County in Knoxville. He is also, creating efforts as well. I've been pushing a lot of his messages out. Just doing as much help as I can on X to make sure that resources get to where they should. Ryan Hall, y'all. That guy, he does a lot of meteorology on YouTube. He's another guy. He definitely every time that there's like a massive storming event, he's always on the grounds right after, taking 100% of his donations, getting water, getting food, getting supplies, all those things. So if you guys are looking for a couple of good places to go to donate, those are some people that you probably want to follow.
Yeah, I know Anthony Raimondi, who's known as Conservative Ant on TikTok and Instagram. He's a huge Trump supporter. He goes to Mar-a-Lago. He's in the mix there. He was talking about how he was pushing efforts and helping people out and everything like that. And he lives in Florida, so it's nice to see that he's taking that direction from DeSantis and kind of going to these other states and trying to help out.
Right. So like I said, you have the good, you have the bad, and unfortunately, you have the ugly. And this is from the Wall Street Apes. Let's take a listen.
So update right now, the biggest problem after Hurricane Helene is just you're not able to move. Some of my friends just try to go to Tennessee. The roads are completely blocked off. You're not getting out. We're trapped in. There's a lot of looters. Please stay safe. Stay inside. If you have a weapon, keep it on you, because there are people intentionally sabotaging stuff. So over on I-40, there were some truckers coming in with supplies and medical stuff trying to help us. They stuck at a truck stop to get some rest. When they woke up, their tires were slashed. Nothing was stolen, just tires were slashed. The same thing is happening all over the place. People are intentionally just vandalizing stuff, not stealing, just vandalizing. And then there's looting happening in all the stores. I'll come back with an update in about 5 or 6 hours. Everyone stay safe.
Yeah. I mean, disasters are going to be seductive to criminals. It's, the same thing happened with Hurricane Katrina. There was a lot of looting, a lot of terrible crimes that went on during that whole event. And,
yeah, and I figured there'd be some type of video record of this, but I mean, they're in the middle of they're in the middle of the trees with no cell phone service in some areas. I think Nick Sorter went out and provided internet for a bunch of people with
Starlink.
the Starlink.
Mm-hmm. I saw that.
Which is amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, this is what America is all about. You know,
Yes.
this is the, you know, during like trying times like this, these are the things that Americans do. You know,
Yes.
they'll go out of their way to make sure, you know, that their fellow American friends and colleagues and regardless of what side of the aisle you're on,
Yes.
to make sure that you're safe and to make
Yeah.
sure that you have all the things that you need to survive, especially in situations like this.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, when you see people that are just vulnerable, I mean, what are you going to do? What are you going to say? Who are you going to vote for before you give them a bottle of water? I mean, you know, it's that whole, hopefully this whole thing right here is a unifying moment that's going to last for a while and remind everybody that, listen, you know, no matter what's going on, we're all in this together at the end of the day. When you get to the nitty gritty of the everyday life and, you know, the resources that you need, you know, we're all human beings and, you know, we all have to show that love and compassion for each other.
Exactly.
Help out when we can.
Exactly. But before we move on to the next story, you know, this slashing of tires, like intentionally sabotaging, like
Right.
why? Like who that seems kind of pre-planned to me. Just a smidget. Like who would even think of doing that, nonetheless trying to survive? Like what do you gain out of doing something like that?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to put it because we don't know who those people are and, you know, who sent them or if they're just doing it just to be, you know, just to be mean on their own and just to sabotage on their own. But, you know, unfortunately, even though you have like a lot of great people, and there are a lot, you know, the ratio to the great people to the, you know, not so great are, you know, it's a wide difference. But you do have, you know, a lot of people out there who say terrible things like, oh, you know, these people in these red states, you know, they don't want socialism and all this other kind of stuff. So how do you like it now? Do you still want resources? Do you still want help? And you know, you have kind of like those really nasty, you know, things coming out from some people. But again, it's not everybody. You're just they're gonna have the biggest mouths because they're on social media. But
exactly. Yeah. So, but the good thing is that the National Guard should be deployed there soon. Just kidding. Tennessee National Guard prepares for year-long deployment in the Middle East.
Right. Perfect timing.
I know, right? Perfect timing for everything. Yeah. All right, let's get into it. So more than 700 soldiers from the 278th Armored Cavalry Regiment will travel to Fort Bliss, Texas for additional training before flying to Kuwait.
Well, today, loved ones put to rest another Memphian, Joshua Allen Jones, the 24-year-old who traveled to Ukraine to assist during the war with Russia. And unfortunately, he did not return alive. Jay Shakur joins us in studio with.
Boom. All right.
There we go.
All right. Nashville, Tennessee. The Tennessee Army National Guard will begin their first leg of year-long deployment to the Middle East on Saturday, September 28th. More than 700 soldiers from the 278th Armored Cavalry Regiment, 2nd Squadron, will leave for Fort Bliss, Texas for a few weeks in additional training before flying to Kuwait. Quote, our service members have spent the last year conducting rigorous training and preparing to deploy in support of Operation Spartan Shield, said Squadron Commander Lieutenant Colonel Jason Tumberland. As an extreme, formidable force to the deterrence of the Middle East, we will accomplish our mission with dignity and honor. The goal of Operation Spartan Shield is to build partnerships in the Middle East to promote self-reliance in the region and increase security, according to the Tennessee National Guard. As a part of the U.S. Central Command, soldiers will assist maintaining a military presence in the region and help strengthen defense relationships. Prior to leaving Tennessee, units in Cooksville, Crossville, Gordonsville, and Morrison will hold departure ceremonies for soldiers with families and friends can honor them for their service. You know, it's funny because yesterday Biden stated that there weren't going to be any more National Guard or military
being sent overseas.
Being sent to the Middle East, and literally a day after.
Right. And then, well, I mean, there's also still a question, not trying to say, we know this for sure, but there's also still a question of, is he making the calls? Because a lot of the times he'll say stuff and then he'll say, I'm not allowed to say that, and all this other kind of thing. So, did he speak and not really realize what was happening behind the scenes, what was being like orchestrated, But, as you kind of like implied in the beginning here, like, is this the time that we need to send our forces overseas when we have, FEMA trucks and resource trucks, with their tires being slashed and, a lot of looting going on and, God knows what else is going on there that we haven't heard of yet, because again, criminals will, exploit these kind of disasters. So we need our forces here, just like we need them at the border. We need all of our resources here, and we can't keep, depleting our resources for, something that's going on overseas. And as they're trying to say it, to strengthen their defenses, not even like we have to go over there because there's like active something that we need to be involved in. It's like to just strengthen their defenses. So it's kind of like you're just adding on to theirs. When we have like a disaster going on here, we need them here. I don't know. It sounds a little ridiculous to me.
Yeah, exactly. The same reason why we ask, why are they sending money to Ukraine? This constant tug of war battle, in Congress about where they should be sending their money next. But yet, when things like this happen and we're ill prepared, that doesn't look good for anyone,
right?
At all.
And then they try to say, "Oh, we need more money for FEMA." Yeah. We need more money for a lot of things. And that's why we're supposed to have extra money from all the taxes that we pay, not sending it to where we're trillions of dollars in debt. And now we have to tax people more. And every time there's a disaster, we're supposed to have this money there for these kinds of things.
Exactly. Right. So this is from Zero Hedge. Modern economy rests on single road in North Carolina where hurricane collapsed bridges. In March, a Wharton professor who studied artificial intelligence and startups claimed on X, the modern economy rests on a single road in Spruce Pine, North Carolina. The road runs to two mines that are the sole supplier of quartz required to make the crucibles needed to refine silicon wafers. I don't know what that is, but I guess we're about to find out.
Yeah.
There are no alternative sources known. If supply disruptions were seen in Spruce Pines, fast forward this past weekend across western North Carolina area where major disaster continued to unfold after the tropical system Helene dumped torrential rains and unleashed devastating floods that pulverized entire towns, destroyed roads, highways, and bridges, and left tens of thousands without power. I mean, you can see, look at this.
I know. It's so terrible. It's so terrible. And, a lot of it you can't see right now because it's still underwater. But when that water hopefully recedes, when it gets pumped out, when all of that happens, I mean, we don't even know what's underneath. Forget about what we can see now. We don't know what's underneath the destruction that's happening. All the roads that are going to have sinkholes and things like that forming, because that's always been a problem, especially in Florida. I don't know a ton about the other states, but, when you go down south like that, the sinkhole issue can be an issue, big issue. So now it's going to be years before all of this gets fixed.
Exactly, because it could take years upon decades for those sinkholes to collapse. You just never know.
Yeah. Look how long it took for that when the bridge collapsed. In Baltimore. I mean, look at how long it took for them to get that together. Now we have multiple states. We have 6 states in disaster. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, exactly. And my question would then be, how long is this recovery going to take? Because there's a lot of things looming around the corner. Like an election.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too. Where are they going to go to vote? All of these people, are they? I mean, I know that's kind of people are losing their lives, but yeah. You know what I really wonder? How they've been having a lot of star-studded celebrity campaign funding and everything for mostly for Kamala, because we know she's got the support of the celebrity crew. But I wonder if they're gonna do a big star-studded celebrity donation for all the people in these states.
Yeah, I'll be waiting for Kanye West to come on screen and be like, "You want to know why? Because Biden hates white people. Oh man.
Yeah.
This guy can make up his mind.
Yeah, exactly. Well, he's out to lunch usually most of the time, but
exactly. Let's see. Let's finish up here. So, wow, there's a lot of. Look at all these roads that are out.
that's insane. It's
That's
insane.
crazy.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would have to look, but like all of those like spots, is that just roads that they, including roads probably that they had to close just to keep everybody safe so they don't go down certain ways to ones that are just not there anymore?
Exactly. Let's see here.
They
That's
all
from
connect.
Ethan Mullock. I finally found time yesterday evening to take an unofficial satellite's eye view towards the quasi-legendary Spurs Prime ultra-high purity quartz mine, North Carolina. It'd be an understatement to say this mine is currently key to the semiconductor and solar PV industries. Ooh. So
dear.
you would think that that would be important on both sides, wouldn't you think?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, we don't know what this is all going to affect. You know, the more you get into this, I mean, you know, a lot of these things that are down there, a lot of these plants and whatnot. I mean, I'd imagine they can't be underwater.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, so let's go to the Daily Mail. Let's change it up a bit, shall we? Donald Trump heads for Georgia while Kamala Harris heads home as Hurricane Helene upends 2024 election campaign. All right, Donald Trump flies into hurricane country on Monday as his opponent, Kamala Harris, returns home to Washington for briefings as both adjust their campaigns to the devastation wrought by Helene over the weekend. Trump will be in Valdosta, Georgia, where he'll be getting an update on storm damage and will facilitate the distribution of relief supplies, his campaign put. I think he also just donated, $25 million of his own money.
I mean, this is not new. I mean, he does this all the time. It just doesn't get reported. But it's kind of funny. Like, I know Kamala Harris was campaigning, I think, in Nevada, right? So she cut her campaign short. Isn't that nice? And she went back to D.C. to the FEMA headquarters. But it's like, don't you guys have satellite phones? Couldn't you have gone straight to Georgia or straight to one of these other states? And couldn't you have been briefed while you were on your private plane?
No, like, Vashnik. Bad Vashnik.
No. We got to support.
Exactly. What's going on, Annie? Annie Logan, I see you down there. Yeah, we're going to step off in just a second. Let's see who else we got here. Looks like we got Rick. Rick's in the house. What's going on, Rick?
Hey.
What sabotage, bro? This guy. Well, what? You're a weather guy now? You've gone from being a producer to a weather guy? Oh, these guys are hilarious. All right. Well, let's get back into it. Let's see. Trump, I already said that. So I'll be there shortly, but don't take reports that I'm getting out of the federal government and the Democrat governor of the state going out of their way to not help people in Republican areas. He posted shortly before leaving with claims that local authorities have made it hard for him to visit North Carolina. Helene ripped into Florida's Gulf Coast on Thursday night, triggering days of torrential rain and flooding. It destroyed homes across the southeast and left at least 100 people dead in its wake. So, yeah, there's the 100. So this is the updated story here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Wow, look at that.
It's terrible. I don't know. Like I said, I mean, I think it just seems like the Biden administration and Kamala, they just seem to be late to the party all the time. I don't know what they're waiting for. You know, if Trump can make it safely there and he's in the state, why can't you? I don't get it. Like, what are you waiting on?
What? Okay, so first off, Kamala needs to get this right.
Yes.
She needs to get this right in order to survive right now.
Right.
Because there's a lot of the one thing that you don't want to do is see her purposefully taking away efforts from Republican areas in the event to kind of meddle in an election. That is the worst case scenario. That is the last thing that she needs on her mind. So I'm pretty sure they're going to do whatever they can to build those areas back up. Now, whether they're going to have it ready for the election, time will tell.
Yeah.
But you can figure stuff out until then. There are still building structures that are still standing. You can bring down buses and Ubers and things like that to get people out to vote. But are they going to do it? That's the question.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of people had things to say about Trump. I think even in that video that was played, that he's politicizing this whole thing. But I don't care what you want to call it. He's there. He's giving his own money as he's done in the past. Whether or not it strengthens his bid to become president in people's eyes, that's neither here nor there. Yeah, it will. And of course that's something that he knows for sure. I mean, you can just pretend and say like you don't realize that that's going to have an effect, but at the same time he's there. And where are you? That's all I gotta say. Like you can try to make it more complicated than that, but it's just where are you?
Well, it's not even just where are you. I mean, there's been plenty of times where Trump has been in a location that the administration should have been in 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So why would they use that against them? It's not like, they visited the border, or affected people in Maui or East Palestine, where Pete Buttigieg, or Booty Guy, I should say, should have been. Abbey Gate victims, the New York police officer that was shot and killed by an illegal immigrant. Like, where were they?
Yep.
Why is it that everybody else is there first before our own administration even picks up a finger? But that I digress, I guess.
I know.
All right, now we're actually going to change. Sorry, I jumped the gun there. This
No
is
worries.
from Fox News. Trump arrives at Alabama Georgia game and chants of USA 4 more years.
Yeah, there were a lot of videos going around where people were doing, I guess you can call it deep fake or whatever, where they were, showing parts where people were booing. But, then people in the comments were like, I was there. They were booing a bad call by the refs. They weren't booing Trump.
I literally watched the game. Like, I had the game right in front of my
Oh, you
screen.
saw it live. Okay, so you saw
live.
it.
I'm like, yeah, no, that didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like,
and
get
that
outta here.
place was packed. And you could hear the roar of the crowd. Like he excites people.
Exactly.
But you then don't again, see Kamala getting that kind of like excitement,
Right. But then again, it's Alabama. Like, what do you expect? Of course, he's going to get cheered there.
That's true.
But for the first time this year, Donald Trump is in the building for a college football game. The former president and 3-time Republican presidential nominee in Tuscaloosa to attend Saturday night's game between Alabama and Georgia. The Trump began his day in Wisconsin for a rally, which he supposedly took place outside, but it was moved indoors due to a Secret Service staffing shortage. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Afterwards, he flew to Alabama to see him take action between 2 top 4 SEC programs. When Trump arrived, dozens of fans were in the concourse at Bryant-Denny Stadium to greet him. Trump threw merchandise to fans, and many of them chanted USA as he entered the stadium. Let's see here. He's got that. He's got that same toss that he did in Puerto Rico with the toilet paper.
Yeah. I mean, for an older guy, he's got a pretty good toss going on there.
Is that Matt Gaetz? I can't tell.
I can't. Oh, I think. Wait, is it? Oh, that guy there. I think so.
Oh no, that's
no, it's not. Okay, he does look like him though. The guy in the gray suit, right?
I mean, if Matt Gaetz and John Lovitz had a baby.
I mean, like you know, he does the right things, that the serious stuff that needs to take place, and he does this fun stuff. I mean, you know, he's just constantly working. I don't even know if this man sleeps, to be honest. I mean, we saw when he was actually president, you know, they have, you know, the pictures of him coming home in the middle of the night, and, you know, he's just looking exhausted, but he just like kept moving, kept working, kept doing whatever he needed to do. And, you know, that's the kind of thing we need. We need somebody who can, and like, you know, they try to say stuff about his age, but, you know, apparently he gets stuff done, you know, like he's all over the place doing different things. He's all, you know, he's talking to the people on the ground. He's doing his rallies. When devastation hits, he's there. You know, he's having the right kind of conversations, and he's doing this all day long. There's no like, well, I'll maybe go, you know, down there, you know, at the end of the week. Like, no, it's today. It's now. You know, and that's the kind of attitude he has, and that's what I hope, you know, people will see, that he doesn't procrastinate.
Exactly. So for those of you that believe that he was being booed, well, let's find out.
It's great.
Yeah, you're a lot of boos.
I mean, listen, as you said, it's Alabama, right? So they're going to give him support. But why do you feel the need, like, as, you know, some people on the left, like Krasenstein and Alex Cole and others, like on X, you know, they will constantly try to manipulate footage, or they'll take clips from the wrong, you know, situations and try to put it off as that's what it is. Like, if you're trying to say that Trump is afraid of Kamala Harris's campaign, you know, gaining traction, then why do you feel the need to do this? It's really telling, because, you know, you would just be sitting back chilling if you thought that everything was all right.
Clicks.
Right. Well,
For
yeah.
clicks.
Yeah, engagement
That's
farming.
why engagement farming.
That's right.
That's it. That's what they're relegated to, is engagement farming, because they have nothing else.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true.
We time is of the essence, okay? So as time went on, they didn't think that he was even going to be out of jail, nonetheless, sitting here at an Alabama-Georgia football game.
That's true. That's true.
So what ended up happening is, once one domino fell, then the rest, it was only a matter of time before the entire structure collapsed. And right now, I think what's happening is that structure has finally hit the ground and is splattering everywhere, and they're trying to find something to hide under on the way out. That's what's happening right now.
Yeah. Yeah, and a lot of those court cases, you know, because they love saying it's a prosecutor against a felon. A lot of those court cases are they're not looking so good. The appeals are, you know, going pretty well, so they're gonna, sooner or later, they're gonna lose that talking point.
Yeah. Well, in other news in college sports, guess who else was at a college football game? Tim Walz.
The coach.
Yes, the coach. Tim Walz humiliated after being booed at college football game. Uh-oh. What is this? Let's see what's going on. Uh-oh, that's not. Hold on a second.
U.S. President Joe.
Come on.
And I don't know, are they going to show it? Oh, okay, let's see. Now that's booing.
That is definitely booing.
Yeah. Yeah, we're definitely living in the land of upside down when you try to say one is booing and one is cheering and the other way around.
Exactly. Attending a video on X, attending Michigan Minnesota game on Saturday. Let's see. And Walz posted on social media he appeared excited as he attended the game between his.
I've been waiting 60 years to come here. It's like a religious experience for me.
All right, so I'll go ahead and stop that there. You know what I'm going to do? Here's what I'm going to do.
Yes.
I'm going to post a post on X. and say they weren't booing, they were cheering.
Oh, goodness gracious.
And let's see how many people basically nuke my account from orbit.
You know, it would be great if you actually get community posted to the contrary.
Yeah, right? Oh, could you
that's
imagine
the beauty.
that?
That's
and then
the beauty.
I would put both the posts right next to each other and be like,
gotcha. Yeah, I don't know how true it is, but I did see a part where Tim Walsh was like walking down and he was getting booed, and it looked like he might have like flipped the bird. But again, I don't know how true that is. It could have been a compilation of some videos and stuff like that. But this is not the first time, if that is true, and he did do that, this is not the first time we saw him, you know, jump out of character real quick. Because when he was at the Democratic National Convention and he went on stage with his son, who I believe is maybe autistic or he's on the spectrum. And he was kind of like walking a bit too slow. There was a moment where Walsh kind of yanked him, like almost like he looked like he was getting annoyed. Like he didn't have the patience. So there's something kind of like under, you know, the whole demeanor that he tries to look like this like sweet, lovable guy that's always laughing and jumping around. I don't know. He definitely looks like he has something going on underneath.
Let's find out. Did he flip the bird?
Good stuff.
Oh, right there. I saw it.
Right?
I saw it. He did it. He did it. He did it. Let's do it again. Hold on. Let's see. Right there. Boom.
He did it. He tried to play it off, right?
I win 1-0. All right.
So I mean, again, I could be, it's all speculation here, but it just seems like there's a couple of times where we've seen, like, you know, they try to get on Trump as being like the anger person and, you know, the one that's always like doing the mean tweets and stuff like that. But Trump, he speaks straight. He doesn't hold back. You know exactly what he's thinking because he says it. Right. You know, these other people out here try to pretend like they're holier than thou, like they're, you know, sweeter and more compassionate and loving. And then when they get poked a little too much, then all of a sudden, you know, they throw a tantrum. And it's like, oh, so you're like one of those implosive people, like, you know, the ones we really should be looking out for, the ones that don't speak up when they have something to say and they let it build up underneath the surface.
Exactly.
You know,
no, that goes.
Yeah.
But anyways, now let's switch it off to our last pseudo segment, I would say. This is from Fox 11 Los Angeles. Boise State women's volleyball forfeits game. Idaho governor praises decision. Do you wonder why?
I have an idea.
Uh-oh.
I think our audience might know this story too.
Exactly.
It's constant.
Yeah. Boise State's women's volleyball team announced Friday that it will forfeit Saturday's match against San Jose State. The school did not give a reason for dropping the match in San Jose. Only a brief statement was posted on the website. Quote, per Mountain West Conference policy, the conference will record the match as a forfeit and a loss for Boise State. The Broncos will next compete on October 3rd against Air Force. The NCAA is facing a lawsuit in Title IX violations. San Jose State University women's volleyball team is mentioned in the lawsuit as one of their players is a plaintiff. In a statement to KTVU, I don't know if you guys have already figured it out, San Jose State University also did not give a reason why their opponents forfeited Saturday's game. I wonder why. We are operating our program under the regulation of both NCAA and the Mountain West Conference. Our student athletes are in full compliance with NCAA rules and regulations. San Jose State volleyball did not play its scheduled home match against Boise State on Saturday, September 28th. Per Mountain West Conference policy, the conference will record the match as a forfeit for Boise State in conference play, the school said. While no specifics were provided for either team, Idaho Governor Brad Little praised Boise State teams for not participating in Saturday's game in a tweet. Here we go. I applaud Boise State for working within spirit of my executive order in defending Women's Sports Act. We need to ensure player safety for all of our female athletes and continue the fight for fairness in women's sports.
Hoorah. I mean, this is what like this is the way they need to go, because constantly when they come out and they make press conferences and they say it out in the media goes and turns it around and, you know, starts calling them names, and then, like, you know, then they start getting backlash and all this other stuff. It's like, just forfeit, go the legal route, you know, keep it all in that clean, you know, legislation route, because that's where it should be fought. That's where all of these arguments and stuff like that should be fought, because it's already there, and we need to just strengthen the laws that are already there.
Well, not just that, but there are numerous stories. I mean, you saw what happened in the Olympics, though. That I take with a grain of salt, because, I mean,
there's a lot up in the air about that.
There's a lot up in the air about that stuff. I'm going to leave that off the table.
Right. We don't even have to use that. There's so many other instances to cite.
Exactly.
You know,
I know that we covered, I think in first season, there was a high school girl, I mean, who got hit in the head, got a concussion, was nearly paralyzed in volleyball because of how hard the spike hit her at like almost 100 miles an hour.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like completely ruined any kind of sports for her in the future. You can't defend against that.
Yeah, that was,
you just can't. Like,
North Carolina.
If you're trying to defend against that, then that means you're telling this girl that she deserved what she got.
Right.
Which I know you're not going to do. So, right. So, you know, at some point there's going to have to be, unfortunately, the Supreme Court's going to have to get involved. I'm glad I am not them, because
I'm telling you, their docket's got to be full up the wazoo. Like they were even saying, like, you know, some of Trump's court cases, if it has to go up to the Supreme Court, they won't be heard until 2026. They have so much on their docket right now, it's not even funny. But you know, why is this always part of, like, you know, the agenda, that where you have to bring people down in order to lift others up? Why can't you just have separate leagues? You know, like you have, you know, the male league, you have the female league. Why can't you have separate leagues for this kind of thing? That's the only right way forward. But the thing is they won't admit that these folks have a large advantage over female athletes. They won't admit that. And that's where we're stalled.
Well, that not just that, but also using these situations to kind of, like, you know, pad their narratives.
Yeah.
You know, coming in and going, oh, it's only because, you know, you're
phobic of some sort.
You know, and yeah, exactly. And try to think they're going to take off and run with it, to only find out that they're going to fall flat on their face. On top of that, you're creating a situation of hate out of thin air with people that normally wouldn't, and then make them feel a certain type of way because everybody else is saying that this is what they're saying about you, and that's not necessarily the case. You know, they're using you as a political pawn and a political tool. Right. That I have a bigger problem with.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? You're not even helping the people that you're trying to pretend to help. Like you were just basically laying out, like you trying to say that you're trying to give a voice to the voiceless. You're trying to, you know, let these people who, you know, have gender dysphoria, and they want to transition to, you know, male or female, that you got their back, but you really don't, because you're selling them a lie. You know, that's why I keep saying that it's, you know, fine. They want to play sports. Great. You know, why don't we have separate leagues, so that way they can play against others who are like them, who have the same capabilities, and, you know, we can all get along, you know. But no, they want to muddy the waters. They want us all to be arguing. They don't want this to actually get to a point where everything works well. It's just the new, you know, black against white. It's the new racism. It's the new,
it's the new card that they pulled out of their ass. Like,
exactly.
That's all it is. And just for you, so you guys know, I understand, because I was there, 15, 20 years ago. We've all been there. You know, our card has been pulled as well.
Yeah.
You know, BLM card has been pulled as well. Yeah. You know, the women's card has been pulled as well. Like they're out of cards.
Yeah.
They're out of cards at this point.
Yeah, and they're constantly making sure that they have their deck full. Like they're constantly, trying to come up with new things that they need to stir the pot with.
Exactly. All right, let's get off of this before we get canceled. This is post-cancel culture, baby.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right,
rock and roll.
let's end off on a good note.
Yes.
DOJ sues Alabama state's top election official for allegedly purging non-citizen voters too close to election.
Well, it's too close, eh? We don't have time.
It's too close to say no to people who shouldn't vote anyway?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I see what's going on here. All right.
This is what they do. They drag their feet and then they say, oh, too late now. We're just going to have to go along with it. And it's like, no, not really, actually.
Exactly. But gay people in Colorado that want to buy a cake and they say no, straight to the Supreme Court. Anyways, moving on. The Department of Justice sued the state of Alabama and its top election official, alleging that they had removed voters who had previously been issued non-citizen identification numbers from its election rolls too closely to Election Day. Non-citizen identification numbers are tax processing number issued by the Internal Revenue Service, or the IRS, to ensure that people, including undocumented immigrants, pay taxes. Because, of course, the IRS ain't going to let you get away even if you are illegal.
Right.
Along with paying taxes, non-citizen identification numbers can provide legal migrants with securing a driver's license and providing proof of residency. After being sworn into office January, Alabama Secretary of State Wes Allen got to work and identified to remove 3,251 individuals who are registered to vote in Alabama who had been issued non-citizen identification numbers by the Department of Homeland Security. This is the safest election ever.
You know what's funny? Because, I mean, granted, this has been going on, all year long and everything like that. But with the cleaning up of the voter rolls, it kind of happened, I think, maybe March, April, where they really started, cracking down in different states.
Mm-hmm.
But, it wasn't even just about people who were non-citizens. It was about people who were passed on, people who were moved to other states. And for some reason, they were still registered in their old state where they lived in.
Right.
There was a lot of things that were being cleaned up. And, even to recently, but, it seems like when it comes to the non-citizen voting, that's when, all of a sudden everybody wants to sue these states. Or when you want to go and say RFK, who's trying to bow out from the presidential race, then you want to sue him because, and you want to keep him on the ballot. Like,
exactly. Ugh. Yeah.
It's like you're showing yourself.
No, exactly. Why do they keep exposing themselves like this? Like, it's like they're out in the open now.
Yeah, but that's exactly what it is. They're just so brazen about it because nobody's calling them out on it. The mainstream media reporters that are supposed to be calling them out on and pushing back on it, the Republicans in the House, people should be pushing back against this. The ones that should be aren't. And that's why they just keep getting more and more bold.
Right. Well, I think that pretty much sums up what happened over the weekend.
And there's more. Trust that there's more.
Wait till Wednesday. Till Wednesday's show, because we already got a full docket there. We might have to push some stuff off the Friday. No, we can't do Friday because we got FAFO Fridays now.
Yes.
With, Fluffy Hobo. Man, Fluffy, he came in here like Spitfire off to the races.
Yeah, he's in his bag for sure on that Friday.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a great show.
Yeah, so you guys don't want to miss FAFO Fridays. You don't want to miss Wednesday either.
Yes.
Where I will be hosting with my... What the heck? What is that word?
Producer?
Executive producer?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I had a brain fart. It was right there off the tip of my tongue. Yes. My executive producer, Treebeard. Too many T's.
Yes.
Yeah, so he'll be here on Wednesday with me and I believe with Fluffy. And we're going to try and gouge through at least 15, 20 articles. I don't know how we're going to do it. You're going to get through it. You're going to get through it, especially with Fluffy. He's like, I don't even know what you call that when he goes through the news articles so fast. So you guys, all three of you together, you'll get through it for sure. Oh, absolutely. We're going to do our best. Again, guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Help your host take the show to the next level.
Yes.
Join the Discord.
Yes.
Go to my website.
Yes.
Help us out. We want to get more news articles to you. We want to get more breaking stories. We want to be able to travel to different areas. So please, please subscribe. Please go in. Monetary contributions will help us out dearly. And that is at riseofmiddleamerica.com, right there at the bottom of the screen.
Yes,
So,
and don't forget to hit that notification bell. You're always alerted to any new videos we drop on this channel because we're dropping constantly.
absolutely. Well, anyways, Biddy, it's been a pleasure on another Monday. Sunset
Always.
is upon us.
Likewise, yes. Thank you so much,
Absolutely.
Roma.
All right. I am the real Roma _AK on X. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you Wednesday. Peace.
Bye.